This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Tuesday, TBOY Tuesday, March 18th. And today's pod is the best one yet. This is a TBOY.
The top 3 stories at the intersection of business and pop culture.
Markets closed up for the second day in a row. No news is good news on Wall Street. Not too shabby, Jack.
There's even rumors that egg prices could be coming down soon.
Oh, eggs going down, stocks going up. Frittata is tasting fantastic, Jack. Feels like a TBOY. What do we got on the pod today?
Poppi, the buzzy prebiotic soda, was once on Shark Tank asking for a $2 million valuation.
But Poppi just sold for $2 billion to Pepsi, thanks to Cinderella.
For our second story, Apple's big AI upgrade for your iPhone, it just got epically delayed.
Because Apple's foot is in Siri's mouth.
And our third and final story, applications to law school surged by 21% this year, and we found 3 reasons why.
One of them, a JD teaches you how to think, and thinking is AI proof.
We think. But Yetis, before we hit that wonderful mix of stories.
Fantastic mix of stories today, Jack.
You may still be stretching out on a beach with some banana boat.
You may still be kicking it down in Cabo, besties.
But when it comes to spring break, there's one brand most associated to it.
In fact, this brand basically invented, scaled, and turned spring break into a business.
They turned spring break into spring break! Woo!
And that company is MTV Music Television.
MTV transformed spring break into a national phenomenon.
Into a profit puppy.
In fact, we think MTV is the most impactful TV channel in the history of TV.
Fact, no TV channel has influenced culture more than MTV has.
Without MTV, we wouldn't have music videos.
Without MTV, we wouldn't have reality TV.
But did you know that MTV initially refused to play music from Michael Jackson?
They only did it reluctantly because David Bowie intervened.
It's a wild story, and so is MTV's transformation from music TV to reality TV.
From Total Request Live to the Jersey Shore.
We did a whole episode on MTV, and you can check it out on The Best Idea Yet.
So besties, if you are on a beach, if you're in a bikini, or if you're just stuck on a flight down to Fort Lauderdale, listen to this episode this week.
To quote Exhibit, we pimped out this episode.
Oh, there are bells and whistles on it.
It's 45 minutes, and we dropped a link in the episode description.
Because MTV is simply the best idea yet.
But today's TBOY is also fantastic.
Oh, this is fantastic. I love these 3 stories, Jack. Should we hit them?
Spring break! Woo!
Hey, Carson Daly, let's hit them.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in the dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is a norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. TBOY City on your at-list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, it's official. Pepsi is acquiring Poppi for $1.95 billion to get into the prebiotic soda craze.
It's a really nice exit for Poppi, which actually pulled off the biggest brand pivot in the history of liquid.
Trivia, Jack, what do SodaStream, Tropicana, Gatorade, Quaker Oats, and Poppi all have in common?
They've all been acquired by PepsiCo.
Yeah, Pepsi. You got some taste buds over there.
They're Gatorade bathing themselves right now because Pepsi just confirmed rumors on Monday that they're buying Poppi, the prebiotic soda, for $1.95 billion.
Prebiotic soda. Yetis, we got to drop some definitions on you over here. Jack, probiotic soda. What is probiotic soda exactly?
Probiotic is something like kombucha, which adds new bacteria into your gut.
Okay, if that's probiotic, what is prebiotic soda?
Prebiotic is when the drink includes fiber, which feeds the existing bacteria that's already in your gut.
So add it all up, and Poppi's prebiotic soda is kind of like a yogurt, but liquidified in your gut.
Like if Dr. Pepper and Tums had a soda baby.
In fact, when we jumped into the numbers TBOY style, Poppi is number 2 in sales behind Olipop with $100 million in revenue.
But Poppi is growing fast. Meanwhile, Big Pepsi, their soda sales have been shrinking or flat for years.
And you know what Jack and I say when you talk to a CFO? Growth is good for your financial gut.
So Pepsi is buying Poppi. But it's funny timing because just last week, Coca-Cola, they didn't buy a prebiotic soda. They launched one called Simply Pop.
But Pepsi knows the age-old rule. If you can't beat them, buy them.
So Coca-Cola is trying to beat them. Pepsi's just buying them.
Looks like that vending machine drama really paid off.
Now, few know, but Poppi was actually called something else recently until it pulled off a huge rebrand.
Poppi pulled off what Jack and I call a Cinderella rebrand.
Because they changed every detail about the company except the underlying product.
Yeah, we call it Cinderella because this is a full body makeover that's going to require a whole lot of magic to pull off.
In 2018, a husband and wife team went on to Shark Tank to pitch their drink and ask for investment. And guess what? They got a deal from Shark Tank.
And Jack, what was that drink exactly?
It was called Mother, an apple cider vinegar-based sparkling soda. It was great for your gut health.
Mother! It was served in a bottle. The logo looked like script written in the Victorian era. It was basically giving co-op farmer vibes, one could say.
But in 2020, after just 2 years in the business, sales were slowing.
Right.
So they gave Mother a major makeover.
They changed 4 specific details.
The name, the logo, the container, and the category.
Here's what happened. Mother changed to Poppi. They went from an old school script to bright, fun colors.
They switched the container from a bottle to a can, and they changed the product description from apple cider vinegar beverage to prebiotic soda.
Yeah, rolls off the tongue a little bit better. Add it all up, and Mother transformed into Poppi, completely different look in every way, and yet the same underlying product.
And Poppi's dressing itself up like Cinderella paid off big time.
Like a fairy godmother waved a magic wand. Jack, this was such a magical makeover. Poppi should start delivering the soda in a pumpkin carriage. Not a fairy tale guy? So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Poppi?
Sometimes to go to the ball, you need to go full Cinderella.
Jack, can we talk about the financial results after Poppi pulled off that epic pivot?
The year after the makeover, sales grew by 100%. And they've doubled every year since that rename and rebrand.
And it's changed everything about the company. First, they changed the customers. They went from niche remedy in your mom's medicine cabinet to a teen trendsetter.
They also changed the use case from an infrequent health product for your gut to a daily soda alternative.
You can literally see Poppi's inflection point tied to that one exact moment when they went through the Cinderella makeover.
Many founders are afraid to cut deep into their brand or to change the brand. Oftentimes, if you do change the brand, you just tinker with the name or the logo.
But Poppi is proof that sometimes the product can be perfect, but it might not succeed because of the wrong marketing.
So Poppi just kissed the Pepsi Prince with a $2 billion deal because of that brave Cinderella pivot 5 years ago.
For our second story, Apple just made an embarrassing confession. AI Siri just got delayed indefinitely.
Apple stock has fallen by 17% since Christmas. Because of all of big tech, Apple's doing the least with AI.
Down to its core. But Yetis, let's check the calendar here. Jack, last June, 18 months into the AI frenzy, what did Apple tell us?
They finally announced something with AI. It was called Apple Intelligence.
Apple Intelligence, AI. But nearly a year later, Jack, I'm looking at my iPhone over here, and I feel like I'm looking at an iPod.
Here's the only AI I see on my Apple products.
Yeah.
Nick will send me a 5-word text message.
Yeah.
And then instead of seeing the 5-word text message, I'll see Siri's attempt at an AI summary of his 5-word text message.
Which is also 5 words long. It's like, Siri, do less, man.
Now, we thought that by now, Siri would be fluent in ChatGPT because that's what Apple told us would happen.
We thought that by now, the future of Apple would be here. We called it SuperSiri.
SuperSiri, the ultimate personal assistant built into your iPhone, synced with your MacBook, in your AirPods too.
So basically a Siri that you'd say, hey Siri, what was the name of that guy I got coffee with last week at Starbucks?
Siri would check your calendar and tell you the name into your AirPods.
Or you'd be like, hey Siri, can you go on Resy and book me a dinner reservation at that place that Alex just texted me about?
It would go to iMessage, find the restaurant, and then book you the reservation on Resy.
Or like, hey Siri, what is this thing on my thigh? And who should I be seeing about this?
Siri would figure that out. Apple said that Siri would be able to move across apps to do tasks for you, which would be the ultimate personal assistant.
They said that last June.
But 2 weeks ago, they made a low-key, super disappointing announcement that AI Super Siri is delayed indefinitely.
Or as Apple put it, we anticipate rolling out a more personalized Siri in the coming year.
Anticipating launching something in the coming year is as non-committal as it gets.
Siri, she's 14 years old, but she still doesn't speak artificial intelligence.
Now, in the headline, we said that Apple's confession was embarrassing.
Yes, we did.
Because delays is something that Apple just doesn't do.
They don't do that. Like maybe you bought the iPhone 16 because of Apple's AI announcement last year?
You thought it was the first AI iPhone, but now you're sitting here with your Apple 16 and it still doesn't do AI.
Yeah, those AI features are probably going to come out in the next iPhone, iPhone 17. Sorry, no backsies.
Apple's got a great reputation of only launching stuff when it's ready, but they jumped the gun with AI.
Side note here, Jack, what is Warren Buffett doing about Apple stock these days?
Warren Buffett, the 93-year-old investor, is no AI expert, but he sold most of his Apple stock last year. Did you catch that?
Didn't notice that, but now we're sharing this. Yeti's Berkshire Hathaway sold 2/3 of their 900 million shares of Apple last year.
And since Christmas, since Warren got done selling, Apple stock has fallen by 17%.
Hey Siri, can you tell us what the heck is going on right now?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Of course she doesn't understand. So Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Apple?
Voice is the next revolutionary interface, but Apple has its foot in its mouth.
Yetis, here's what Steve Jobs said at the 2007 iPhone unveil.
We've been very lucky to have brought a few revolutionary user interfaces to the market in our time. First was the mouse. The second was the click wheel. And now we're going to bring multi-touch to the market. And each of these revolutionary user interfaces has made possible a revolutionary product. The Mac, the iPod, and now the iPhone.
The mouse, the click wheel, and the multi-touch screen made the Mac, the iPod, and the iPhone possible.
Those physical innovations, that's what brought Apple the most profit of any company in history.
But those revolutionary user interfaces, as Steve Jobs called them, they're all going obsolete.
Because the way we see it, the future of tech will be controlled by voice, completely hands-free computing.
My iPhone's amazing.
Yeah.
But an iPhone I never have to pull out of my pocket or tap around on, that's even better.
Amazinger. Apple, they had a 10-year head start with the voice of Siri, but she still can't speak AI.
Which means that ChatGPT, Amazon's Alexa, or Meta or Google's chatbots could win the voice race.
Yetis, listen to our epic podcast host voices right now. Whoever wins with voice wins the next era of consumer tech. Hey Yetis, if you're a bestie, take a sec and hit that subscribe button.
And like this video while you're at it. If you leave a comment, by the way, we'll read it.
For our third and final story, hold on to your MBAs because applications to law school surged 21% higher this year.
We'll tell you why your buddy is getting a JD instead of an MBA.
But Yetis, first, full disclosure. Jack and I are both the sons of lawyers.
My dad's a lawyer. Nick's dad's a lawyer.
Yeah, my mom's a lawyer too. And actually, the reason we do disclosures in the podcast is because our legal parents told us that they're lawyers and we should do disclosures.
Yeah, we're not lawyers. We actually went to business school.
We did.
But at business school, we were more impressed with our JD classmates.
Our law school classmates, they're doing 3 years of school and they're doing way more reading than we were.
Law school. It's what smart people do when they don't know what to do.
And here's the news. More people want to do that.
Applications at America's top 200 law schools rose by 21% this current application season.
At the University of Michigan, applications are up 30%, the most in their 166-year history.
And the University of Michigan's Law Library is one of the great architectural feats of the Midwest, Nick.
Over at Georgetown, 14,000 applications to the law school for just 650 spots. That's less than 5% application rate.
This is a bar exam boom. It's an Esquire surge. May I approach the bench? No, there's too many of you. You may not approach the bench.
I heard there are so many law school applications, Elle Woods got waitlisted at Harvard.
That's not true.
It is true.
Now, Yetis, the wait lists for this application season are so deep, the law schools are doing something they've never done before.
Standby lists like airplanes do.
They're giving people a sense of where they are on the wait list. So they can either write off their chances of getting into Michigan or still hold out hope that they'll get in.
Now, Jack and I got fascinated with this story, and we discovered there are 3 interesting reasons that explain the law school boom.
1 economic, 1 political, and 1 tech.
All right, Jack, let's start with the economic. What's the economic reason for the bar exam boom?
The hiring pullback, starting with the tech industry, has continued. So white-collar workers are looking for alternatives.
Yeah, the tech session. Zuck started it with his year of efficiency, and then Amazon continued it by culling mid-manager white-collar jobs.
According to the Wall Street Journal, the percent of MBA students still looking for a job 1 year after graduating is up to 23%.
That's why your buddy over at Stanford GSB is still thinking about starting his own thing.
There's a political reason for the surge in law school applications, too.
Yes, there is. Historically, law school applications actually jump during election years.
Which we just finished.
Yes, high-profile battles on immigration, civil rights. Basically, law schools get a Trump bump from all the controversial topics.
Because for some reason, like every famous politician of all time is a lawyer.
Oh, totally. And we actually call this the Atticus Finch effect, don't we, Jack?
You think you can impact positive change on the world through politics, especially when politics are in the news.
So you pull a Harvey Dent and you go full Aaron Brockovich on law school.
You've mentioned Harvey Dent, Aaron Brockovich, and Elle Woods. What other fictional... Oh, you haven't mentioned my cousin Vinny.
I plead the fifth, Jack. I plead the fifth. So, Jack, do you pledge to tell the takeaway, the whole takeaway, and nothing but the takeaway over there?
You can't handle the takeaway. Law school teaches you how to think, and we think that is AI proof.
Now, Yetis, of course, a third reason for the law school surge is artificial intelligence.
Everyone wants to know which career paths are safest from AI.
Now, there is no data fully out there yet, but we think the ones that require critical thinking are the safest from AI.
Medical degrees, law degrees, creative degrees. We don't think you can program any of those professions into code.
Yeah, to get more detailed, our thought is that no industry is immune from AI. In fact, many basic associate work that's now done at law firms, it's done by AI.
But the most important way to job-proof yourself is a role where you have to think.
And the power of law school is that it equips you with a new way of thinking.
As opposed to a skill that's more functional, like writing code. Because functional means automatable.
Besties, law school, it teaches you how to think. And we think that thinking is AI proof.
We think.
All right, approach the bench. Jack, could you whip up the takeaways for us for TBOY Tuesday?
Pepsi is buying Poppi 5 years after Poppi changed its name, its look, its container, and its category.
Everything but the drink. Because Yeti, sometimes to go to the ball, you need to go full Cinderella.
For our second story, Apple's AI-enhanced Siri is delayed indefinitely. She still can't speak AI.
Voice. It is the next revolutionary interface. But Apple, they got their foot in their mouths.
And our third and final story. Law school applications jumped 21% this year for political, economic, and technology reasons.
AI is still best at doing. Humans are best at thinking. Or Jack, another way I've heard this the other day is you want to be telling the machine what to do, not the machine telling you what to do.
Thinking is more AI-proof than doing. But Yetis, this pod's not over yet. Here's what else you need to know today.
First, Forever 21, home of the $1 cute top, just filed for bankruptcy again, but this time for good.
It's planning to close all 350 remaining stores. Forever is ending.
Now, interestingly, Forever 21 blamed Shein and Temu for all their problems, the fast fashion disruptors from China.
Specifically, they're complaining about the de minimis loophole, the $800 loophole that lets those Chinese exports come into America for free.
And second, the fate of Ukraine could hinge on a phone call that happens today.
Donald Trump has a phone call scheduled with Vladimir Putin to discuss the ceasefire in Ukraine.
A lot hangs in the balance of this call between these two strongmen.
And finally, Robinhood is letting users buy contracts on prediction markets related to March Madness basketball games.
Translation, you can bet on March Madness basketball games.
They didn't say bet.
Okay.
They said you could purchase contracts on prediction markets related to the outcomes of the March Madness basketball games.
Your move, SEC. Your move.
This is a backdoor move by Robinhood to effectively let you sports bet, but without the sports betting regulations.
Say sports betting. We didn't say sports betting. Now, time for the best fact yet. This one sent in by Scott Schiller over in lovely Vancouver, Canuck, Canada.
Last week, we compared that famous Skype incoming phone call sound effect to the sound effects of Slack.
Well, Scott wanted to share a little bit more about the sound of Slack.
Push and play.
Here we go.
This sound is known because of Slack, but it was created for an online game. The game called Glitch didn't work out, so the company behind it pivoted to focus on their in-house communication tool. That became known as Slack. Slack needed some notification sounds, and they happened to know exactly where to look. So what's the takeaway? Don't throw away old ideas. They may find a new life in your next best idea yet.
Wow. Okay, first of all, great background history on the sound of Slack. Second, one of the greatest voices we've ever heard was that Yeti, Scott.
He's got a voice for podcasting, for sure.
He's got a voice.
We just said earlier in the takeaway, voice is the future.
You're AI proof, Scott. You're AI proof.
By the way, Yeti, send in your best fact yet by tapping the link in the show notes. We want your voice on the pod.
Yetis, you look fantastic over there. Jack, what do you think? Is this tankini going to work for me? Is this good for the beach?
You talking spring break?
I'm talking spring break over here.
Spring break! Woo!
If you want to hear about MTV, the company that invented spring break reality TV and the music video as we know it, we've got the perfect episode for you.
This episode is dripping with nostalgia. Also, when Michael Jackson dropped Thriller, it almost broke MTV.
True story. All of that is on the best idea yet, our weekly show. Go listen right now. We also dropped the link in the episode description.
And Nick and I will see you tomorrow.
Can't wait. And before we go, a happy birthday to Yeti Jackson Baker, turning 18 in Skinny Atlees, New York, shredding his axe and T-boying while he does it.
And happy 30th birthday to Zach Steinfeld in lovely Atlanta, Georgia. We're wishing you a perfect 300 bowling game.
If you know, you know. And Christina Smolowski down in Centennial, Colorado is buying a house today. Huge milestone on the birthday.
And happy 28th birthday to Meredith Johnson in Southlake, Texas, who cannot wait to celebrate with the besties in Houston.
Let's go. And to the USC Annenberg School of Communications, thanks for stopping by. They just jumped into the TBOY studio while they're visiting San Francisco. Great to see you guys.
And finally, a shout out to some boring business owning Yetis who are crushing it with their unsexy businesses.
Matt Bowser owns a golf cart rental business called Joyride.
Fred bought a 37-year-old asphalt company in Orlando.
And Danny Goals launching High Bar, a cleaning solutions business over in Oregon.
This is Jack. Nick and I both own stock of Apple and Robinhood, and we both own ETFs of the S&P 500, and I own stock in Amazon and Berkshire Hathaway.